come down to OBS. Things. That's so ominous. Okay. So we're not great at this. We're over here and we're giggling. So might as well go ahead. Hi everybody. So it's the Saturday 6, and so here to talk with me about 6 of the things that have been really wonderful recently is Dr. Elizabeth Myers.
Technically, yes.
You totally earned that. Okay, so this is my best friend. And so I guess I'll just go ahead and start scrolling over here. Because that's you're my number one good thing.
Oh, I know.
So, yay! We haven't got to spend time. I mean,
it's been a year.
Yeah, it's been a year.
Yeah.
So she lives over in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So, and she's also a teacher. She's a professor. And
they would get very mad. Lecturer.
No. Okay, here's the thing. You are a professor. So, I know this. You know how I know this? Because I am facilitating, not teaching, facilitating a dual enrollment class. And it says that you want to be aware of titles. Mm-hmm. And that if you're not sure whether or not your teacher has a doctorate, use professor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And you are teaching, and you definitely talk about the things that you believe about your subject. Mm-hmm. You profess them. You're a professor.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure that we darn well better have audio, because I've got the little wiggles, and I saw in the chat that people heard us giggling before. And see, right here, this button.
The wiggles. Okay.
Because what happens sometimes, and we saw this when we were first messing with OBS, it's like, okay, open this up, and there is a black box. I'm like, why is this not working? Don't know. Okay. Remove video capture, add it back in. Is it working? Hey, look, we got picture. So, but with audio, if I'm not really careful, I'll be like, okay, I can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's fine.
As long as we're talking to each other, everything is good.
Yeah. So, on the last show, I even got a comment about this from somebody who watched it later.
Oh, yeah.
Like the first 2 or 3 minutes, I'm giving the explanation of the first item, and there was no sound. And people in the chat, like, I was like looking at my notes, and people in the chat were like, there's no sound. I actually didn't realize it until I saw a phone call light up, and I'm like, oh, I bet they're calling because there's no sound. And I was right about there being no sound. So, anyway, people will talk to each other and to me in the chat, so I try to keep an eye on that a little bit. But, and you have really nice hair. You have thick hair.
I do.
Thick with 2 C's, so it's nice.
It's enormous, yeah.
So,
I have to get it thinned out now.
You know what helps with that?
What?
Getting cancer.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one.
I hope so. I would recommend that, because also it's really expensive. It's a really expensive way of dealing with it.
I think as far as illnesses goes, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm all right. You've paid your dues. You have had your fair share. Okay, so that's definitely a good thing. So scrolling. All right, so this year, I can definitely say, and I mentioned this last time, I was like, I hope that that's going to be one of my 6 things, because I knew it's going to be right at the start of school. Yeah. So yes, I honestly, I think this year might have been the best back to school of my entire career. It's been really good.
Wow,
yeah. So, I don't have any of them here. I put them
Mine is not going to be that good.
You don't know that yet.
Wow.
You don't know that for sure. Maybe you'll get a really, really sweet, well-adjusted crop of students who are excited about the material.
Oh, I'm not worried about the students. I just haven't written any on my syllabi.
Well, yes, but one of the things that we do in K-12, or not everybody does, but it is not uncommon, is to discuss expectations with students, maybe on the first day of class, and then, have student input. So maybe you could do that.
No, I do that. We go through everything that is
not like
necessary.
demanded.
Yeah. And I talked to them about how I'm also a procrastinator, so I understand if they're procrastinators as well.
So, but like coming up with things as far as, time frames for extensions and things. So talking with them and then saying, okay, so I'm going to take that into consideration and I'll give you the syllabus next class, which gives you
No, I have to have my syllabi done and handed into the department by that week. Yeah, that's not like if it was me, I'd just be like, we're going to wing it.
Well, you said by that week.
Yeah, by that week.
But it doesn't have to be by the first day of classes.
No. Well, I have to have it done by the Friday, the first week of classes. So
you got time.
Yeah.
When's your first Friday? It wasn't yesterday, was it?
No.
Okay, there you go. Then you're good. If it was yesterday, I'd be like, well, you're
okay.
Oh, I can't say that. I'm not on Patreon. You're screwed.
Oh, I can't curse. Okay.
Oh yeah. If you curse, if you curse, I'll get emails.
Oh, okay.
Not now. These are not you're gonna get fired emails. These are you said a wordy nerd. And they're really sweet about it too.
Are they really nice about it?
They are.
Okay.
They're really sweet.
Because I curse like a sailor typically, even in my classes.
Oh well,
yeah.
I don't curse like a sailor in my classes. What did I say?
That's actually a difference.
I said. But I hint at cursing, and
Okay.
like they're able to fill it in contextually. I'll say, this, when I'm talking with them, I was just looking at our dress code, which is, it's a dress code, and I'm going to tell them that. I'm very much anti-dress code, and that I think that there should be a dress code, and there should be exactly one parameter for dress codes, which is safety.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's it. That's all. Safety.
And
that is the only thing that should be required. Other than that, it should be completely up to the wearer of the clothes.
Yes, 100%.
So,
and there should definitely not be gendered, dress codes.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope.
Never.
But yeah, essentially, I did, on the first day of school, I told a student that their shorts were not long enough. Now, the context of this was, they said, oh, the seat's too warm and my legs feel sticky. I said, well, then you need, and the student said, but my shorts are long, but my shorts are within dress code. I said, that's not the issue. You're complaining about not being comfortable on the seat. Maybe you should wear longer shorts.
Or a skirt.
Or a skirt. Well,
skirt.
the student was wearing shorts, and so I said if the shorts were longer, then
or a skirt. Yeah.
Or a skirt. It's difficult because sometimes when you stand up, it's longer, but then when you sit down, because of the the bend in your hips, it pulls up in the back, which is normal. But you got to be aware that your thighs are going to be on the back of the seat.
Yeah.
C'est la vie. So if you're okay with that, you're okay with that. But actually, I think she was complaining that it was too cold because the AC, the AC in our building has been a little wonky. And out in the hall, it'll be like a little on the warm side and kind of humid. But in the room, it's so cold. And I'm like, wear layers, folks. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. Like, I wore layers and I needed to wear more. But I was okay. Oh, no.
My problem is my building is usually pretty hot. So in the winter, I have to wear like layers, and then because then I'm up in front of the classroom like marching around doing my little lectures, and
you're getting moving.
Yeah, you're moving, and you start sweating, and I'm like, oh, blazer off, like oh my gosh. So I have to make sure
there's something
useful
there. Yeah. The wearing clothes is part of safety. You do need to wear clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing for me, shoes are a big concern. Like, please wear something that is not going to trip you or cause you to if you stub your toe, there's I'm a big proponent of closed-toed shoes. Even if you have like sandals, having something that protects your little toesies, which I say this having, broken both of my feet while wearing closed-toed shoes. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth, I guess.
I currently have a broken ankle.
Yes,
so
I know. She broke the same ankle I did. You can tell.
Which is the other reason I haven't been able to visit, because I can't drive with a broken ankle. Although I hear that doesn't stop some people.
You also yelled at me for going back to work. She's very fussy.
I want you to take care of yourself. That's not fussy.
Look, I did take care of myself. I just, I wasn't expecting that, walking was going to be a problem. legitimately, and we were literally being careful because the ground it was on a slant.
Yeah.
And my dad had literally told me, we need to be careful here because this path is not cut out so that it's even. I said, well, we're going slowly. We're both wearing sneakers. We should be fine. 15 seconds later, the soil slid, and then so did I. I mean, there was nothing that I could have done.
No.
So it is what it is.
I mean, I guess I could have. I mean, I broke my ankle because I was getting the mail. So I guess I could have just not gotten.
You could have gone onto a 3-point stance and reached up with your other hand.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when you get old, folks like us, and you're gorgeous and old, you're still fragile on the inside. I mean, not just like physically. I mean,
the bones are a little.
Yeah, we've been emotionally fragile our whole
that's
lives.
a whole
Yeah,
different
but
thing.
okay. So moving on.
That's a different conversation.
Okay, so we're moving on because
Okay.
there's something going on out there which I'll tell you about later that we need to get we need to check in on. Okay. All right, so yes. Oh wait, okay. Oh well, I didn't add enough returns in. Oh well, suck it up, people.
Yeah.
So Kansas.
Yeah.
So we had our local/regional, our county Democratic meeting this week, and we got into a bit of a conversation because of what happened in Kansas. Because we're talking about how we're going to, we want to, get out the vote.
Yeah.
And the best ways of doing that, whether it is yard signs, door-to-door knocking, what we had, the what do you call it when you put the measure, the vote thing. Before it's a vote, we have a motion.
Motion, okay.
That we were going to vote on.
Yeah.
And there was disagreement about how much money we should spend on the postcards, because and essentially it came down to the statement that was made was the Republicans are shooting themselves in the foot. We don't have to spend all of our money on postcards to get people to get out the vote. And so my response was, yeah, but if everybody look what happened in Kansas. We don't have to do anything. It's going to be fine. Not necessarily. They got out and voted, and that's why it was fine. And we need to tell people to do the same heckin' thing here.
So, yes. But also, I know people from Kansas, and I know people who worked with Democratic committees in Kansas, and they did a lot of legwork to get the word out. Like
you mean they encouraged
people to get out and vote, right? Like they did a ton of work. So you can't just sit back and say, "Hey, we don't have to do the work they did."
Yeah, that Republicans are going to be like, "Oh, well, they're just going to let it happen." No, that's not how it works. So yes, but very, 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 very good pleased for two things. First of all, obviously. Definitely glad to see how the vote went, but glad to see that there was that much civic engagement. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that, as somebody as far left as I am, that I am still very much pro-voting, even though one vote can make a minimal difference, is that it's a way to be involved locally.
Yes.
In your public. And that's, I mean, honestly, I don't think that voting election day should be a holiday because, of course, that benefits the people who have nice jobs that pay them a fair amount of money, whereas like service workers and stuff, they're still going to have to work. They have to work holidays anyhow. So the people who really need the paid time to vote, they ain't going to get it anyhow. But what I do think is that communities should make election day kind of like a festival. Like setting up like popcorn stands
or
and balloon animals and food trucks everywhere. Taco trucks on election day.
There should be incentives. So the county that I come from, during early voting, only 8% of our county voted. And there was this really fantastic candidate named Mariah Phillips, who I really loved, who was up for county commissioner. And only 1,000 people in her district voted. And she lost by 33 votes. And that drives me crazy. One of my friends actually recently said that Tennessee isn't necessarily a red state, it's a non-voting state.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the ways that she's encouraging me to get involved is just to try to encourage people to actually vote, because they're not doing it in our county at all. So I think that this is really important. I think postcards are really important.
Yes. Yeah. Well, speaking of which, you're one of the people that I sent a postcard to. Now, Postcards to Voters is anonymous. Like, you don't know who you're sending postcards to. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to paint my postcards, or some of them. And so I was like, I don't know if this is actually going to work. So I painted a postcard and I sent it to Zabby so that I could I'm like, look, text me when you get this so that I knew it came through the mail. And like the sorting machines didn't, shred it so that I can know whether or not it's going to be effective. So she actually got one of my postcards, but it didn't actually. Do we have a cat in here?
No.
Oh, do you have it?
I think I have a picture of it. I think I have a picture of when it arrived. You can keep talking.
Okay.
It'll take me like a second.
So I'm going to
find
scroll.
it.
I'm going to continue scrolling. So another thing is, okay, so you may remember, man, I really didn't add enough. Maybe I just didn't zoom in enough. Anyway, you can tell it's a little bit, I don't know, hectic. It's not hectic isn't the word I'm looking for. Anyway.
It was a long day.
Yes, it's been a very full day, a very good full day. We went out to eat. Yay. Oh, there it is. Just hold up to the camera.
Trying to get the glare off of it, but that's not really working, is it?
Okay, and if I. It
was very pretty to get in the mail.
There you go. You can kind of see I made a rainbow. Woohoo! And so it was a learning experience. So, but it did work. Yay. So, last Wednesday we did not have our usual live stream for Trek Reluctantly, or maybe not just this past Wednesday, but Wednesday before. We didn't have it because we partnered up with the DC Public Library, which I mentioned today. I did not mention the Describe-a-thon, but we actually went to the library, to the Chattanooga Library, to see some of what they offer. And I mentioned that the DC Public Library had tweeted a picture of their podcast studio. and they said, does your library have something like this? And I was just like, I could be really salty about this because the Chattanooga Public Library has an amazing full-on recording studio, professional grade.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so I just quote tweeted and I said, Chattanooga Public Library, you got anything to say? But I love the DC Public Library. They over the summer, I've participated in the Brown Bag DC tweet chats, sometimes on Wednesdays, and then the Ask a Librarian chat on Thursday at noon, which means my TBR list has gone even bigger, which is great because it's digital, so that's okay. I don't have to worry about, shelves cracking. Anyway, something that Steve Shives and I did was the Black Lives Matter Describe-a-thon, and we logged into a Zoom call, and the DC Library had acquired a collection of posters and signs and other elements that were up around the White House during the Black Lives Matter protest.
Yeah.
And so what they needed us to do, this was just apparently one of many such events. What they needed the people at this event to do was to log into, we were each assigned, I think a dozen, maybe 20 posters or signs. And each of us had a Google Doc that we were assigned to log into and add metadata. So we would give each piece a title that made it clear what it was, and identify who it said it was by, and then a physical description of the object. And so this would work with like screen readers and stuff like that, and give it, in some cases,
like alt text.
Yes,
like that.
and one of the protesters who had been there for almost like the whole thing, Nadine, she was able to give us some context for some of the signs. Like the one series that I had was sign after sign after sign that was just a name. And some of the names I'm like, are these people who were victims of police violence? I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. So I was able to ask that and, get some confirmation as to what this referred to. We had one that was actually like not a sign. It was a jumpsuit. And so somebody else had that one. They're like, okay, please, there's got to be a story here. It was a jumpsuit. And there was like the little poop emoji at the top of it. So we got the story. This was actually a jumpsuit worn by one of the organizers during part of the event. It was really, really, really cool. And so apparently these sorts of events, so this is actually going to be included in their digital collection that people can go to online and see this part. It's almost like an online museum. So that was really, really cool to have the opportunity to be involved in that in some small way, to do something that, helped me understand more of what went on. I think for me, the most interesting aspect of it was when Nadine talked about how some of the posters and signs would be like pristine, because people had continued putting things on the wall like for months. I mean, new stuff was added daily. Up until they decided to take things down and curate them and save the collection. And others were like really battered, a lot of water damage. Some of them like had tears from where like the zip ties that they'd hole punched them and then put zip ties through, and they pulled at them and torn through a couple places. And sometimes they would have multiple hole punches where people had reattached them. And so they'd been there for months and months, and others were like relatively new. And I hadn't known that it was almost like this living document, this living part of our history. So it was really cool to be part of that. So that was really neat.
That's awesome. Yeah. Here I should actually plug the National Quilt Museum. They're doing a civil rights exhibit with coats, quilted coats. Starting August 26th. It's up in Paducah, Kentucky, but it's incredible. And yeah, it was really cool. I was going to see if you wanted to go. So
that sounds great. Now the other thing is, do they have, because we're online, do they have like can people go online
and digitally see? I don't know. I haven't so far. Their website on mobile is a little simplistic.
Okay.
But I haven't explored on an actual computer, so I'll have to check it out. But
check
it was
it out.
Really cool.
Let us know in the comments. You know I'm a sucker for comments. So the National Quilt Museum.
National Quilt Museum in Paducah, Kentucky, which is if it's 3 hours from me, yeah, it's like 5 hours from you.
Well, maybe I could come visit you.
Yeah, like, and then we could go up.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. So plans are being made. All right. So next. Okay.
Oh.
So yes, have you heard that?
Yes.
Yes. Oh. Coral is just so
now we have to tell them, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the Great Barrier Reef has more coverage now than it has had. Gosh, it's been diminishing for decades, and it started growing back, and it's at a higher level of coverage than it has been for like the past 40 years.
Yeah.
So that's yay. It's
very exciting.
Yeah, it's I don't know about exciting for me so much as reassuring.
Yes.
It's kind of like the ozone layer. Like you don't hear much about the ozone layer anymore because like it's fixed.
Yeah.
So which is fabulous. Now the Great Barrier Reef is not remotely to the part of being point of being fixed, but I had no idea that much of it had improved or that it improved that much.
They went into the big trash island and they pulled a bunch of it out.
Okay.
And they discovered that, they discovered this a little while ago. It might have been 6 months ago. They've discovered a bacteria that's actually eating the plastic.
Yes!
Yeah.
This
but
is really cool.
Also started pulling apart the garbage reef to, get rid of it. So.
Yes. And that's an impressive development. That's one of the reasons that, people are like, the Earth is going to die. I'm like, no, the Earth is going to change.
Or the Earth is just going to kill us.
We might die. we will die sooner or later. But, humanity may die off. Like, essentially, yes, other species
Let's not
are
go
being
too
affected.
down into the inevitability of death, though. Yes. I think that's...
Yeah, people know that, Want a tulip? So yeah, it may affect other species as well, but, change is kind of inevitable, and the Earth is a heck of a lot bigger than we are, and it's really adaptable. So, life,
finds a way.
Exactly. Okay, number 6, and I just told you about this. So, I think I've said about working with Georgia Public Broadcasting on an educational video, and I hadn't heard anything, and I filled out this paperwork, and they emailed me back and said that you filled it out wrong, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't really know what I'm doing. And so I filled it out, and then they said, okay, that's right. And that was back before the end of the school year. And so I was like going through the summer, I'm like, okay, it's busy, right? People are doing things, and school starts back, and I'm just like, we were, then I had students, and I'm just like, I had my planning period. I was like, so I went back through my emails and found my son, and I'm like, okay, hi, I just wanted to see how things are going. And they emailed back like that day, just like an hour later, and said, oh, your video's live. Here's the link. And I was just like, So they liked it.
Noticed.
They weren't ghosting me. They just actually had published it. So
incredible.
Very, very stoked. Very excited about that. So when I update the links, obviously I will put the link to the video there. in the description. And then I do have a bonus thing, which is not actually in the document. This document is not actually right here. It's invisible. It's right there. But so yeah, because Max and Savvy are visiting, my husband has baked cinnamon rolls with an orange glaze, and they're out there eating them. So
Without us.
without us. So I'm gonna scroll through the chat and interact a little bit. And then we're gonna go eat cinnamon rolls.
Orange
glaze. Yes,
orange glaze.
He knew you like.
love
So
orange,
that was
yeah.
So and I will admit we did try them when we got back.
I'm
so
not surprised, and I
So-
didn't expect you to wait for us, and that's fine.
Well, he made like a 9x12 pan.
Yeah, I think
So,
you're good.
yeah. Okay. Da, 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 da. Turning election day into a street festival might encourage more people to vote, so I'd support that. Well, here's the question. I don't think you do live near a polling place, do you? So, you know what? Oh, well. No, Steve, okay, I wound up doing more, not because I'm an apple polisher, but like I said, I had like a whole series of them. In fact, I think my first set of 20 was just name. So what I was able to do once I typed up the description of it was, it was a sign on white canvas with light pink and dark pink flowers stenciled on, and a name stenciled in black capital letters, and with thus and such, in quotes, is stenciled in black capital letters. And then I was just able to copy paste that and then to change the name. So I was like done before you were like halfway through, as I recall. And it was just because I happened to get a set that was easy to do. So...
Also, she's an apple polisher.
Now, I eat the apples. I don't polish. They polish them at the grocery store. I don't something. Oh, Philip is showing a positive thing.
Okay.
My brother's friend got married recently, and his older brother is getting cancer treatment, and they thought he wouldn't make it to the wedding, but he did.
Oh, that's so great.
I am so glad. Well, I hope that it sounds like they think he wouldn't make it to the wedding, that he's getting like palliative care. So I'm so glad that he was able to do that, and they were able to share that memories. And if it's a wedding, they'll probably also have pictures of them spending that time together.
Yeah.
That's really special. That's
really nice.
awesome. Andrew, I'm a big Rip rather than a Grey Death fan. I'm not really a fan of death in general, Andrew. I'm just saying.
really
But,
either.
I mean, I know it's going to happen, so.
I have good news.
Share.
My book chapter got published. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's called My Dissertation Has Become a Funny Dinner Party Story.
as is wont to
it
happen.
should,
Yeah, it reaches more people. It reaches more people that way.
Yeah.
Funny dinner parties. I can talk.
Well, now it's a very entertaining essay to read, right?
Yes. You're just such a wonderful. Well, I mean, like in your dissertation, you're not allowed to be
as funny as I am in reality.
Yeah, you have like you have to worry about impressing boring people.
That's a good point. Yeah, I had to impress a lot of really boring people. Mm-hmm. We do all like to curse.
Yeah.
I teach an essay that starts with a curse word by Anne Lamott, and it's crappy first drafts, right?
Yes.
But it's not crappy.
Well, it is. Oh,
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks in the No Swear group are shocked if you swear around them like one time.
Oh, yeah.
But by like the 30 or 40th time, they're less shocked.
You and I are in the thousands around each other. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, sounds really. Oh, a bit of. Oh, Andrew, why are you sharing bad news? It'll release greenhouse gases. Well, I mean, yes, but I mean, all carbon-based life forms release greenhouse gases.
That's true.
So, I mean, maybe.
I bet some of them are releasing some right now.
Yeah. You know what? We are going to go, and we're going to eat, and then we're going to release some greenhouse gases. So,
finds a way.
we will find a way to eat the sticky buns. Yay! So, that's it for this episode of Saturday 6. Thank you so much. And don't forget to leave me news about the good things that are going on in your life down in the chat. And I will update that. It's not going to be right away today, guys, because
Because I'm here.
Because you're here, and also cinnamon rolls are here, and we're going to go eat them. Bye, everybody. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.